Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engine. Today we're working on a Troy-BILT Mustang Z54 lawnmower. They were mowing with it the other day, and one side, when they're mowing back and forth, one side is cut lower than the other. So we're gonna check the back tires, make sure they're both equal in pressure. I'm gonna jack it up, check the blades, make sure there's not a blade bent, or we might have to level the deck. Then we're gonna go ahead and service the motor and check everything over so they have a good season of mowing. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check the tires, make sure they have equal pressure, and especially the back ones, equal pressure, because if one side's low, one side of the deck's gonna cut lower than the other. And on the side of the tires, it will say like the max pressure. And this one here says 20 pounds. But it depends on, I guess, if you have like a bumpy lawn or if you have a smooth lawn. If you're mowing and you're bouncing up and down your seat, I recommend having a little bit lower pressure. So you're not bouncing around. Actually, you're cutting the top of the grass. It'll look a lot smoother. So it says 20 pounds max. I think we're going to put 15 in the backs. That'll give it some, be like a shock on it. Like this one here only had 5 pounds in it. So I got 15 in that one. I'm going to make sure this other side has 15 pounds. And always put your caps back on so dirt and stuff don't get on your valve. This one had 10 in it. Now it has 15. So now you know the back of the deck's level from the tires, but you know, there's adjustments on the deck. But the next thing we're doing, we're going to jack it up and check the blades, make sure they're not bent. So we will do that next. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jack it up now. I see the tips are all rounded off on them. So, okay, I'm going to go in there and take off the blades. And we'll check them out, see if we have a bent one or not. Okay, I got the blades off. And as you can see, this one right here, how it's bent and curved, is not equal with the other ones. That could be a side why the side might be cutting lower than the other sides, and plus the wing is about ready to break off, and that's a danger too. So when blades get rounded like this, it's time to replace them too, because they'll leave strips while you're cutting the grass. So these blades definitely need replaced. And while you're under there, you might as well clean all the grass and stuff out from underneath to make it nice and clean so the grass gets thrown out really good. Then inspect from where I'm from, we call them quills. That's where the blades bolt onto. Some people call them mandrels or spindles. Make sure there's no cracks in them, and make sure the star on them, on these Troy-Bilts, make sure that star is in good shape, because the new blades will have these stars on them too. And make sure you get them in there, set in there, so it don't sit cockeyed there. And just inspect everything under the deck. And I'm going to show you this here real quick. There's this rod right here with these two nuts on it. When we get this back down the ground, we're going to check the level of the deck. And after a while, the fronts of the deck start sagging down. That could be like where the rod goes through. It could start to be egg shaping out. Or if you hit stuff with the deck, this bracket here could get pushed back in there, and the front of the deck will start sagging. So if the deck is low, we'll tighten these nuts up. And when we do that, you want to inspect the belt. Make sure the belt's in good shape. Make sure all your idler pulleys are spinning. And if you see any zerks anywhere on the front tires or on these here, anywhere you see a zerk, go ahead and grease it. And I'll make everything last longer, but make sure all the idler pulleys spin free, like the bearings ain't seizing up or anything. Just check everything over under there. Well, you got it up in the air. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is put the new blades on. Then we'll set it back down, and we're going to make sure the deck's level. Okay, anywhere where you find zerks or anything, make sure you grease it up. On the front here, there's zerks. On the front wheel bearings. A lot of times there'll be zerks on these here, but this one don't have. Must have like sealed bearings in there or something. Then on the quills or the mandrels or the spindles, sometimes they have them underneath. This one would have them underneath, and it don't have them on top. But if you break one, the aftermarket ones have grease zerks on them. And just inspect your belt. Make sure your belt's not cracked up or stuff. When it's running, if like the whole deck's shaking and stuff, you could have a burnt spot on your belt, which could be causing that. So if your deck just really shakes really bad when you engage the blades, more likely you have a flat spot, or like one of the blades got hung up or something and just burnt a flat spot on the belt. So then this one looks really good. Cleaned all the dirt out of there. Put the new blades on. I only found 2 zerks on this, which is kind of crazy. But some lawnmowers have zerks on each one of the spindles and on these and on the tires. So now we'll go ahead and lower it. And we'll make sure the deck's level from side to side. We'll do that next. Yeah, I'll move this out of the way. Then on this here, there's different settings. So I'm gonna put it in the 3.5 inch setting. And I'll show you what I use. It's nothing fancy, but it works just fine. It's a little tool like this. You set this spot here on the floor, and you put this on the bottom of your blade, and it tells you how high it is. And in order to make sure the blades are level on both sides, you have to have the blades going straight across. And you just stick this on the floor. And you put that under there, under the blade. Some people say do it under here, but where the discharge chute is, usually that side has an extra piece of metal on the bottom, so actually it's not going to be level. And we're going to go over on this side over here and see if it's equal to this side here. I got to grab the blade, make sure it's straight across. And right at the bottom of the blade. And both blades are at 3.25 inches. It says 3.5 on the thing, but they're both equal. So now I was telling you about the front of the deck to the back of the deck. This one here looks good. This lawnmower here is only a couple of years old. But in this case, you would do the front edge of the deck and the back edge of the deck. You know, the front end's lower. You just tighten up this nut right here. There's two nuts. You loosen the outside one, tighten the inside one, and go ahead and tighten the outside one to lock it. So once you get all that done there, we're gonna go ahead and drain the oil next and put new filters and stuff on it. Okay, we're gonna drain the oil. This one here has a drain hose that comes down to underneath, which is a good idea. Some of the brakes have like a hose that clamps on the top of the housing, and you just bend it down. Now you don't, you want these tight, but some people like over tighten these things. And we're gonna let that drain, make sure it drains good. And we're not gonna change the oil filter till that's all drained out. And it's less mess over on the other side where the oil filter's at. So we're gonna let that drain. And while we're doing that, we're gonna inspect the air filter. And that definitely needs replaced. Then I'm gonna take the plugs out. I like looking at the spark plugs. It tells me how it's burning. So we'll do that next. Okay, while oil's draining, I'm gonna go ahead and put new plugs in this. I like putting plugs in once a year. And as you can see, them out that side there is burning really good. And these are regular Briggs plugs, and I like gap them at 35 thousandths on these twin cylinders. Get these snugged up. And I'll go ahead and do the other side here. And while you're doing this, inspect the fuel lines, make sure there's no cracks and stuff in them. And that side there is burning really good too. So we're just gonna put brand new spark plugs in here. Go ahead and snug her up. Put the wire on until it clicks. You know, that air filter was pretty much in bad shape, so we're just gonna install a new one. Because the better the air goes in there, the better it's gonna run. Put it there till it clicks. And I see the oil is almost done draining, just a few drips. So we'll let it drain a little bit more, make sure all that dirty oil's out of there. And while we're doing that, let's bring the camera over here. We're gonna go ahead and put a new fuel filter on there. And when you install these filters, this is a regular Briggs & Stratton filter. This big end here, that always goes towards the carburetor. So the gas comes in this side here from the tank and it goes out. Don't put it in like that, put it in like that. And there's usually arrows on them that tells you how to put them in there. We'll go ahead and take the clamps off. Kind of twist it back and forth. Kind of hard to see in there, but it looks like there's some crap in there. Put a nice clear filter on there. You can see if you have any debris in there. Okay, let's check that oil drain. And put that on. And we'll go ahead and replace the oil filter. And when you put these back on there, you know, make them tight but don't snug them on. So there's like 1,000 pounds pressure on there, foot pounds on there. You just want it snug so it don't vibrate out, because you definitely don't want to lose your oil. But okay, now I'm gonna take my oil pan to the other side. That's where the oil filter's at. And on some, here, I'll move this camera back over here. So I'm gonna have a slot in the frame where right under the oil filter where it will drain through, and some lawnmowers don't have that. And if it don't have that, it just makes a heck of a mess. So you definitely need to bring some paper towels or an old rag or something when you do this, or else you have oil all over the frame. And this one don't have a slot under there. Figures. And if you don't use a name brand filter, get one that has at least 20, I think it's 20,000 microns or whatever. The ones I use have 25,000 microns. That means it filters out the dirt better. So we got our new filter. And sometimes you have to use a filter wrench because they just crank them things on there. You only need to be hand tight. But we're going to move this fuel line out of the way a little bit. They have other kind of oil wrenches too, ones that look like a cap that go on the end. And before you take it all the way off, we're going to lay some paper towels underneath there. Going to eliminate some of the mess. Make sure our pan is under there, because it's probably going to run through some of them holes. But we'll lay this paper towel under the filter the best we can. It's going to be messy no matter how you do it. And when you take it out, make sure that rubber thing gasket is still on there. Sometimes they stick to the oil pump. And make sure you clean that ring out really good. Make sure there's no debris on that, so the gasket seals the oil filter really good. That paper towel absorbed a lot of it, but there's still got a little bit under here. Get that cleaned up. Because if you leave oil on there, that's a good attraction for dirt and dust to build up on there. Okay, now we can install our new filter. And all you gotta do is make it nice and snug by your hand. You don't need to wrench them on there with a wrench. When that gasket sealed, it's hard to take it off, and you could puncture the oil filter to take it back off again when you replace it. So our next step is putting oil in this thing. And on these twin cylinder Briggs, use SAE excuse me, SAE 30. And this one here is a 44 cubic inch. So what you do is you put 1 3/4 in, start up for like about 20 seconds, and let it run so the oil filter gets full of oil. Then check it. It could be full at 1 3/4, but a lot of them take 2 quarts. But don't overfill it. There's like a little thing on the oil filter, and that top hole where that cross hatch is, that's full. So make sure that's nice and clean on top. You don't want no dirt going in there. So I'm gonna go fill it up, and we'll start this bad boy up and see how it runs. Okay, we did a lot of work on this lawnmower, made sure everything's all nice and good, and checked everything out. Tuned up the motor and everything. Well, it purrs like a kitten. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and you have yourself a good afternoon. Thanks, bye.